Morning, guys. Did you know that you can make any enclosure a walk-through one? So here are the people, they're just walking, but this is actually a water monitor enclosure. Yet, the people aren't scared. How it works is, as long you have your two-floor walk-through enclosure, as long as you have the path having a gap between the second floor. So you put a path below the second floor, but make sure there's a gap. And also make sure that the second floor is closed off so the animal can't continue onto the path. Then the animal can, as you'll see, the animal is fully traversing, it's fully satisfied, everything, but the people aren't panicking. So just make sure you have a gap and you can make any enclosure walkthrough. Excuse me. So that's one mechanic. My premise is I like reptiles and I want to see them together, but you can't really house them together the way you can herbivores. So I'm basically using a lot of glass to keep visibility up and building upwards rather than outwards for the same reason. And I wanted to see people with animals. It's cool to see like how big this reptile is compared to a person. Basically the same length, even longer maybe. Um, so that's the premise. Okay, so um, this is a third. This is another mean mechanic I want to show you, which is the juvenile filter upper platforms. So yeah, because it's an adult, the legs are on the rear platform. It looks weird. Trust me, it looks weird when it gets to where it needs to be. But see, and now it's on the adult side. So these two, I'll just return them, a baby and an adult. Now see how this works. Okay, so see the keeper's thrown the box. You'll see the box goes through the hole, and then depending on the size of the animal, see what happens. So that's the juvenile. The rear legs never touched this rear platform, so it is immediately in the bottom section. Okay, now adults coming. See, that's the Cayman. The rear legs touched. Doesn't fucking work. Yeah. Sometimes, once in a while, it doesn't work and it ends up down there. But see, this is the smallest one of the ones that reliably work, and it went up. So I want to have my different reptiles together, but the adults can tolerate each other, but some different species might predate on the juveniles. So I need a juvenile filter to basically separate two halves of the enclosure. Because if you just have it separated, for example, with just bridges or things, anytime the animal goes to a vet and basically is respawned into here, it will then be outside of whatever controls you have. So the control has to be at the point where the animal enters the enclosure. So there's a set space which I've defined, like you this barrel. If you make a 4 meter thing with angle snap on, it should line up. Where you put this filter is where that peg or post lines up with into that hole. This seems to be a bit offset to the left, but the main thing is this distance, because when a juvenile is spawned, returned to here, it'll be too small to reach the rear, for its rear legs. The main thing of the animal is the rear legs. So if the juvenile's rear legs won't reach, it'll be down here, it'll continue there into its area. If you drop an adult here, the rear legs will go onto this uh, rear platform, and then it will go up onto this thing. As long as the rear legs go on the rear platform, it will then consider it to be on this path, above path, rather than below. There is a third important traversability to account for, which is the staff one, because you only have one entrance, so the staff has to be reaching both sides, but the adults and juvs are separate. How you do it is, so basically this bridge is too narrow for the adults, this gate is too tall for the juvs, but the staff can traverse over that. So this bridge is how the staff goes between the sections whilst keeping the animals separate in the way I described. So, and the next mechanic I want to show you is floating or habitats within or through a habitat. So you can actually create habitats within habitats. Um, I don't mean like you have a big habitat and you put a small one in between with the entrance. That's easily possible. I mean, like you can literally, if okay, so basically, this way you can at least get two families together. So how it works is, it seems that a habitat is defined not by its floor, but by its perimeter only. So as long as you make the edge of the habitat normal, like with your barriers, then you can make a hole in the middle of it and put a habitat through it, and it will count as two separate habitats. So for clarity, we'll call this floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and floor 4. This bottom one has floors 1 and 3 because it's going through floor 2 onto floor 3. So if I look at his versatility, you will see that it's from floor 1 crossing up to floor 3, never onto floor 2 or 4. And you'll see that it's not saying that there's too many adults. There's actually 3 adults, but it only thinks 2 because that one is truly separate. So that's for the above or below ones, and this is floors 2 and 4, the top one. So you see, it's floors 2 and 4 only. This one has no babies because, as you know, things don't blueprint properly when they're more complex sometimes, and the babies won't go up on this. And so I made this one no baby one. So that's why it's smaller. I cut a chunk of this to improve the visibility of the lower, the lower thing. So yeah, it's fully traversable. There are some few glitches with the things I make. So sometimes it says this escaped into there. So sometimes it goes from here to there. Sorry, sometimes. Um, but you know, it's just a matter of boxing it. 99% of the time it works. That's why I put these in franchise, and I'm on year 19 to show that, you know, this works over time for the most part.